Now at 6, we have the latest on the arrest and indictment of Chauncey Billups just hours after the Blazers home opener. What we know about the indictment and how this will affect the team ahead of their game tonight.
And President Donald Trump says he's terminating all trade talks with Canada, accusing the country of interfering with an upcoming Supreme Court case.
And today is also a KGW weather impact alert day with heavy rain and winds expected into tomorrow. Chris McGinnis will have your full forecast coming up as your news at sunrise starts right now. Thank you for joining us on this weather impact alert day. I'm China Green.
And I'm Corey Johnson in for Drew Carney. Chris McGinnis is standing by for a look at your weather and traffic.
Yeah, good morning, guys. So it's here, right? Our KGW weather impact alert days for today and tomorrow. We're actually tracking 3 distinct weather systems that will keep our weather very active between now and Sunday. But especially today and tomorrow, expect periods of heavy rain, gusty winds, maybe a little ponding on the roadways. Now would be a great time, if you have the time, to go clear your storm drains as well. As the rain picks up later, just be prepared. This is not the storm of all storms, but it is really the first 1-2 punch of good fall rain, wind, rain, and mountain snow in our forecast this weekend. All right, it's raining along the South Washington, the North Oregon coast right now. We've got rain now trying to work its way through the coast range. Futurecast keeps the metro area generally dry through about 8 o'clock, but that will sweep in here a little bit later on this morning. So all bets are off after 8 o'clock in terms of when the rain begins. And once it moves in, guys, it's going to get fairly heavy fairly quickly. So between about 10 and 3, I think we're really going to get soaked here, upwards of a ½ an inch plus of rain. The wind's also going to ratchet up, and daytime highs eventually get into the lower 60s this afternoon. All right, more on that in a bit. Let's get you out the door with a look at the roads. So far, the roads are actually in pretty good shape. We'll take you live over to the Sylvan Hill, Highway 26. The headlights actually in that shot moving from right to left. That's the westbound commute. It's equally busy with the eastbound drive right now, which is to say it's rolling right along just fine. The Banfield looks good as well, and the drive through North Portland up near the Expo Center. The headlights in that shot, that's your southbound I-5 drive. Ladies, we're still rolling along at a speed limit clip.
Thank you, Chris. All right, we are continuing to follow the arrest of Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups.
Billups was arrested yesterday by the FBI for being a part of fraudulent poker games. He's also been suspended by the NBA. Now, Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz joining us live right now outside the Moda Center. Thomas, what else have we learned?
Well, guys, there's 2 investigations that the FBI is embarking on involving people involved in the NBA. There's that first one, which alleges that Chauncey Billups was a part of rigged poker games run by New York City mob families. Now, there's also another one which Billups also might be involved in, circulating around betting in the NBA. Prosecutors mentioned a co-conspirator 8 in an indictment, labeling them as a person who lives in Oregon and was an NBA player from approximately 1997 to 2014 and an NBA coach since at least 2021. That's the time span Billups played. He's been a coach since November 2020 and a head coach since 2021. According to the indictment, the coach told a gambler the Blazers would intentionally lose a game on March 24, 2023 and not play several of their best players, all in hopes of increasing their chances at a better draft pick. The gambler was allegedly told before the public knew the players would be out. That gambler and another then placed successful fraudulent wagers. The Blazers went on to lose to the Chicago Bulls by almost 30. Billups has not been charged in that case, though former FBI agent Chris Swecker says it clearly has to do with Billups. Swecker says there must be a reason the head coach wasn't named.
There's a card that's being played here. It just hasn't been played yet. It's my belief that there's some kind of plea deal in the offing, that maybe the details haven't been nailed down, and this is a piece of leverage in that case, that he hasn't been outright indicted in that case at this point.
After that 2023 game, Billups answered questions from reporters about key players being injured.
It's not the best, it's not the greatest, but it is what it is. You know, I just, whoever's available, I'm gonna coach them. I'm gonna try to do the best I can to help them.
And look, Billups was in a first appearance here in downtown Portland yesterday. He is now out of custody, albeit with some restrictions on his travel. He's also not allowed to gamble. He's going to have another hearing, this time in New York, on November 24th. Guys.
All right, Thomas Schultz live for us outside the Moda Center this morning. Thank you, Thomas. In a statement to ESPN, Billups' attorney said in part, quote, to believe that Chauncey Billups did what the federal government is accusing him of is to believe that he would risk his Hall of Fame legacy, his reputation, and his freedom. He would not jeopardize those things for anything, let alone a card game. And we'll have continuing coverage on Billups' arrest throughout the morning right here on Sunrise. You can also learn the latest on the investigation online and on our free TV app, KGW+.
In other headlines this morning, a judge has found a man guilty except for insanity for stabbing another rider to death on a Portland Max train last year. In March of 2024, 52-year-old Shondell Larkin killed Mike Brady while Brady was on his way home from work. The judge ruled that Larkin was suffering from psychological delusions at the time. He will likely spend the rest of his life in state hospital.
Beaverton police are looking for anyone who might have encountered a man who they say broke into several homes and got into bed with women while they were sleeping. Now, this is the man right there on your screen that's in question, Christopher Riedman. Authorities say this happened several times during the night of October 8th. Now, authorities say they have surveillance video showing him checking door handles in central Beaverton. They say he got into 2 homes, then crawled into bed with women who were sleeping. Riedman has been indicted by a grand jury on charges of burglary, sexual abuse, and private indecency.
Operations have resumed this morning for Alaska Airlines after an IT outage yesterday afternoon forced a ground stop across the country. According to CNN, the ground stop for Alaska was lifted at 11:30 last night. At PDX, 6 Alaska flights were canceled with many more delayed. Alaska notes that this is not a cyber attack or related to other outages. If you are flying Alaska today, FlyPDX says to check directly with the airline for the most accurate flight information.
Well, take a look at this story right here. Nike is now testing a first-of-its-kind shoe designed to make people go faster and farther than ever before. It's called Project Amplify. The experimental footwear features a lightweight, powerful motor and rechargeable battery that's part of the running shoe. Now, think of it as having a second set of calf muscles. Who wouldn't want that? It's unclear when the shoes might hit the store shelves, though.
I feel like that would be very needed on hikes, at least for
Yes.
me. I can go like maybe a half a mile and then I'm done. So
Wait, isn't the purpose of a hike to get a little exercise, though?
no,
Are we?
just to see things. I don't want exercise.
Fair enough.
No.
Fair enough. All right, we are exercising radar, among other things, this morning because it's going to be very, very busy over the next 72 hours. So over the last 3 hours, rain now working its way through the South Washington and the North Oregon coast. In fact, it's now starting to rain in some of the higher terrain in Lincoln County as well. So our much advertised atmospheric river part 1 is on the way. 2 stormy days ahead for today and tomorrow. KGW weather impact alert days for heavy rain, occasionally gusty winds. Now would be a good time to clean out the storm drains if you haven't already done that. We're going to get some ponding on the roadways, and when the rain really picks up later this morning and this afternoon, you're going to want to just watch yourself out there on the roads as we get some good puddling and some gusty wind. Here's Futurecast at 8 o'clock. Rain rolling in through the Coast Range, probably into parts of the Willamette Valley by as early as 10. And then we really, I think we've got a 2 or 3 hour window where the rain's really going to come down at a pretty good rate here between about 10 and 2 or 3 o'clock. Late this afternoon, that first front will pass on through and we'll get a bit of a lull in the action late this evening and through the overnight hours. But very quickly tomorrow morning, the next round of rain is already sweeping through with developing low pressure offshore, which will also ratchet up the wind more so even than today. So Saturday looks like a windier day than today. In terms of rainfall potential, 1.5 to 2.5 inches of rain in the Willamette Valley looks like a reasonable bet. Today's going to be a breezy day with south winds on the order of 30 to 35. Tomorrow looks even windier. Wind gusts at the coast could be near 50 to 60, and in the Willamette Valley, we could be looking at 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts on Saturday. So a kind of a 1-2 punch of rain and wind, and eventually some cascade snow. I'm going to talk more about that in our next weather report in just a few minutes. For now, it's quiet. There are some cases where we're starting to see some rain working its way through the North Oregon Coast Range, but it's dry right now in the valley. We're on our way to a high of about 61. Again, the rain moves in sometime between about 8 and 11 o'clock, and then it will turn into a rainy, breezy Friday and on and off rainy, windy Saturday. Showers linger into Sunday as well with lowering snow levels. Once again, we'll check those out in just a few minutes. Ladies?
Thank you, Chris. Rod may not be here today, but he'll be next week. He'll be back to bring us his annual winter outlook detailing the weather that we can expect throughout the winter. So you can watch Rod's winter outlook this coming Wednesday at 6:45 and 8:45, October 29th.